Sit down. I already poured your drink. You've got that look, the one you get when a case won't let go. No, that's not it. This one let go of you, but you can't let go of it. What happened?
A client came to me about a missing trucker. That's how it started. Standard case, wife hadn't heard from her husband in 3 days. Company said his truck was found on the shoulder of I-40 in New Mexico. Engine running, cab empty, no signs of struggle, no body, just gone. Bill Kazmarek. Handle was Big Bill K on the trucker forums, 43 years old, 18 years on the road. His wife said he was the most reliable man she'd ever known. Never missed a call, never missed a stop. Standard case, that's what I told myself. Then I found the forum post. And nothing about this case was standard after that. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me start with the police report. Bill's rig was found at mile marker 214 on I-40, about 30 miles east of Tucumcari, New Mexico. A passing motorist spotted it at roughly 3 a.m. on a Wednesday. Engine idling, headlights on, driver's side door wide open. His phone was still in the cup holder, wallet on the dash. A thermos of coffee on the passenger seat. State police noted it was still warm. No footprints leading away from the truck. Not into the desert, not along the shoulder, not anywhere. The ground out there is soft sand and scrub. If a man walks off a highway, he leaves tracks. Bill didn't leave tracks. Bill didn't leave anything. The Tucumcari Sun News ran a 4-line blurb. Truck found abandoned at mile marker 214 on I-40. Engine running, driver missing, no signs of struggle. That's the whole article. 4 lines for a man's life. I started digging the way I always do. Phone records, dispatch logs, the usual. Bill had texted his dispatcher at 9:47 p.m. that Tuesday night. Making good time, ahead of schedule. Last communication, after that, nothing. I pulled his GPS data from the fleet management system, clean route. No deviations. He'd been averaging 68 miles per hour, steady, the way a veteran driver holds a rig when he's got a rhythm going. Then the data just ends. The GPS pinged his location at mile marker 214, and the next ping never came. Then I went to the forums. Truckers talk. They talk about roads, they talk about rigs, they talk about the things they see at 2 in the morning on highways where the cell signal dies and the only company is the radio. I searched for Big Bill K, found his profile, active for years, rig reviews, route tips, weather updates, normal guy. The kind of poster who answered questions and helped new drivers. You could tell he liked the community. His last post was at 11:23 p.m. the night he disappeared, posted from somewhere on I-40 in New Mexico. Anyone else getting a weird AM station out here? 1630. News broadcast about a missing driver, giving details about MY truck, MY route. What the hell is this? No replies. Big Bill K never posted again. His account just stopped. Now, I've done missing persons work for 15 years. I have a process. You pull the thread, follow it, see where it leads. Most of the time it leads somewhere sad but ordinary. This time the thread led me somewhere I didn't want to go. I started searching the forums for any mention of I-40, AM 1630, mile marker 214. Individually, nothing unusual, but when I combined them, those 3 terms together, I found a post buried in a thread about that stretch of highway, 6 months before Bill disappeared. A driver using a throwaway account, no history, no other posts, describing something that happened to him on the same highway, on the same stretch, on a Tuesday night in November. The post was long, detailed, written by someone who needed to get it out of his head and into words. I read it 3 times, and each time the hairs on my arms stood up a little more. This driver, I'll call him Mike, that's not his name. He drove long haul, Chicago to Memphis, Memphis to Dallas, Dallas to Albuquerque, 1.2 million miles in 11 years, knew every rest stop, every way station, every dead zone. The kind of guy whose truck is his office, his home, and his church. Nothing surprised him anymore, except what he heard on the radio. He was scanning AM bands somewhere between Amarillo and Tucumcari. That stretch of I-40 where there's nothing, no towns, no lights, no other vehicles for miles. High desert under a sky so full of stars it looks wrong. The FM bands were dead. AM was thin, a Spanish language station from somewhere south, a preacher selling salvation at $19.99 a month, dead air. He kept scanning, the dials swept through frequencies and found nothing. Then at 16:30 a.m. it caught. A clear signal, crisp, no static. A man's voice, professional, measured, the kind of voice that reads teleprompters for a living. A news broadcast about a truck found abandoned on I-40 at mile marker 214, engine running, driver missing, personal effects still in the cab, phone, wallet, and a thermos of coffee still warm. Mike looked at his phone. He'd sent a text to his dispatcher at 9:47 p.m. that night. Those exact words, making good time ahead of schedule. The broadcast quoted it, word for word, details nobody else could have known, details that hadn't happened yet. He checked his mile markers. He was approaching 214.
A broadcast from after, playing before.
That's what stopped me cold too. The broadcast kept going, said this was the 14th disappearance along the I-40 corridor in 18 months. Mike had heard of three. Three you could explain. People walk into the desert, people have breakdowns, people meet the wrong person at a truck stop. But 14 is a pattern, 14 is something else. Then the voice changed. Same mouth, different mind. The register shifted. Not the tone, but something behind it. As if the same vocal cords were producing the words, but a different intelligence was choosing them. If you are listening to this broadcast, you are within the corridor. You are on the road. It is nighttime. You are alone. Not news language anymore. Direct address, instructions. Do not stop your vehicle. Do not open your door. Do not look at what is standing at mile marker 214. It cannot enter the cab if the cab is sealed. It cannot reach you if you do not stop. Mike was at mile marker 211. The highway ahead was straight and empty, just asphalt cutting through scrub and sand, the headlights carving a tunnel of light into the darkness. Nothing moved, nothing breathed. The desert at night out there isn't quiet the way a room is quiet. It's quiet the way a held breath is quiet, the way a room is quiet when someone is standing in it, not moving, waiting for you to notice. 212. He pressed the accelerator. The Peterbilt surged, the diesel engine climbing through gears. 70, 75. He'd never tested what happened at 90 in a fully loaded truck on an empty highway in the dark. The speed limit was 75, but the speed limit was a suggestion made by people who hadn't heard what he'd just heard. 213. The radio changed. Not static, silence, total silence. Not the silence of a dead frequency, but an active silence, as if the frequency itself had been erased. As if something had reached into the electromagnetic spectrum and removed 16:30 a.m. from existence. The green glow of the radio display was the only evidence the station had ever been there. And in that silence outside the truck, a sound like fabric tearing. Slow, deliberate, the sound of something opening. Not a door, not a zipper. Something that doesn't have a word because it isn't supposed to open. Mike felt the temperature drop, not the cab, the air outside. He said later he couldn't explain how he knew that, how a man sealed inside a truck at 87 miles per hour could feel the outside air change. But he felt it the way you feel someone staring at the back of your neck. Not with your skin, with something older. He didn't look at mile marker 214, not directly. The broadcast told him not to. And Mike, 1.2 million miles, 11 years, trusted the voice the way a veteran trusts a warning. You don't question it, you obey. But peripheral vision, that edge of sight space where things exist as shapes rather than details, caught it anyway. Something stood on the shoulder of the road, tall, thin, darker than the desert dark, and the desert dark out there is absolute. It didn't move, it just stood. And as he passed at 87 miles per hour, it turned to follow him. He said it didn't have a head, it turned something else. Some part of its shape shifted to track him, the way a flower turns toward light, except this thing was turning toward the opposite of light. He couldn't tell where it ended and the dark began. Its outline didn't hold still. It frayed at the edges, like smoke, like heat shimmer, like something that existed in the space between dimensions and was only partially visible in this one. He drove past it in under a second. But that second stretched, it always does in moments like those. He drove to Tucumcari without stopping, pulled into the first truck stop, locked the cab, left the engine running, left every light on, sat there until sunrise, hands on the wheel, eyes forward, not sleeping, barely breathing. The radio came back at mile marker 230. AM 1630 was dead air. He scanned every frequency. The station didn't exist. Next morning, he called his dispatcher. I need a different route. Got reassigned. Dallas to Denver. Different highway. Never drove I-40 at night again. Here's the thing that kept me at my desk until 3 in the morning, going through his account and every scrap of information I could find. The broadcast reported Mike's disappearance in past tense has been missing since Tuesday. It described his truck, his route, his text to the dispatcher, everything except the part where he didn't stop. It reported a future that didn't happen because he heard the warning in time. Bill Kazmarek heard the broadcast too. His forum post proves it. Same station, 16:30 a.m., same highway, same details about his own truck, his own route. But Bill's truck was found at mile marker 214. Door open, coffee still warm. Bill stopped.
The warning was the same. The response was different. I wonder if the broadcast sounded different to him. The same words, but spoken just a beat too slow. Just enough to make a man think he had time to look.
I don't know. I'll never know. But after I found Mike's post, I couldn't stop. The case had gotten under my skin in a way cases aren't supposed to. I've investigated murders, kidnappings, cold cases where the trail is 20 years dead. None of them followed me home the way this one did. I checked the news archives, police reports, trucker forums, missing persons databases, NamUs, NCIC, state-by-state highway patrol records. In the past 18 months, I confirmed 3 drivers missing along I-40 in New Mexico. 3. The broadcast said 14. 3 confirmed. 11 unaccounted for. So I dug into the gap. I pulled fleet records from the major carriers, cross-referenced departure logs with arrival logs, looked for drivers who left point A and never reached point B. No accident report, no breakdown call, no hospital admission. Just departure, and then silence. I found 7 more. 7 drivers who dropped off the grid somewhere along the I-40 corridor. Their companies filed them as walkaway, trucker slang for a driver who abandons his rig and his route and disappears into a new life. It happens. The road grinds people down, but 7 walkaways on the same stretch of highway in 18 months, all at night, all on the same corridor. Their trucks were found at rest stops, truck stops, highway shoulders, engines off in some cases, running in others, personal effects present or absent. Each one got a line in a log somewhere. None of them got a news article. None of them got a search party. 10 total, with Bill. The broadcast said 14. That means there are 4 more out there that I couldn't find. 4 drivers who vanished so completely that not even the paperwork noticed. I tried contacting Mike. The forum account was a throwaway. No email, no name. The post is still there for now, but I keep checking, and every time I open the page, I hold my breath for a second because Explorer Taro's post is gone. The forum account from a missing Urbex case I looked into once vanished. People who see things on these roads, they tend to disappear, sometimes from the internet first, then from everywhere else. I closed the case, told Mrs. Kazmarek what I could, that her husband was likely deceased, that the circumstances were unusual, that law enforcement had no leads. I didn't tell her about the broadcast. I didn't tell her about mile marker 214. What was I supposed to say? Your husband stopped the truck because something on the radio told him about his own death, and he opened the door to look at the thing that was waiting for him. She asked me if he suffered. I said no. I said it was probably fast. I don't know that. I don't know anything about what happens when you open the door. I just know that there are no footprints, no remains, no evidence that anyone was ever there. Whatever happens at mile marker 214, it's thorough. I don't drive I-40. I'm not a trucker. This case shouldn't keep me up at night. But I keep thinking about what Mike wrote, that somewhere right now, on some frequency, a broadcast is playing for someone else, a driver on a dark highway, alone, approaching a mile marker where something is standing. And whether they hear the warning in time depends on whether they're scanning the right frequency at the right moment. And the ones who don't hear it, the ones who stop, the ones who open the door, the ones who look. The broadcast said it can't enter the cab if the cab is sealed. It said it can't reach you if you don't stop, but it didn't say what it is, and it didn't say it can't try again.
A warning and a lure on the same frequency. That's elegant, isn't it? The only thing standing between survival and disappearance is whether you trust the voice enough to keep driving, or whether you need to see it for yourself. 14 drivers, 3 confirmed, the rest just absent. Not dead, not alive, just no longer where they were. What would you do if the radio started telling you about tomorrow? Would you keep your eyes on the road, or would you have to look? Take your time with that drink. I'll be here. I always am.